Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful tool used in software development industry, Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps brings everything at one place, whether it's project management, code repository, CI/CD pipeline, and most importantly for us testers, an end-to-end testing platform. So Azure DevOps test plan helps to create test cases, test plans, and test suites at one place, and also execute using the tool and track the real-time progress of testing activities. If you are into a software development industry and looking to enhance your testing skills, you are at the right place. Let's get started and explore how ADO can enhance your testing skills. In this video, we are going to explore the key Azure DevOps modules that testers use every day, like test plans, test cases, bugs, dashboards, and how to maintain complete traceability across your testing workflow. Before we begin, make sure you have access to Azure DevOps within your project, or you can simply sign up for a free trial account. For this session, I will be using a trial version of ADO. If you need help in setting up your own trial environment, just let me know in the comments. I will happy to guide you. Let me first explain you on the layout and navigation. If you're already familiar with it, skip to the next section. So once you log in to Azure DevOps, you will see this screen. If you have selected the project, on the top breadcrumbs, you can see the first one is the trial account name. The second is the project name. So if you click on this project, it will by default open the overview of the project. On the left side menu, you can see different modules. So for today, we will cover on dashboards, which is under overview. Then on the queries, which is under the boards menu, there are other items under the boards like backlogs, sprints, analytics view. Then the other options like repos, pipelines will not cover today. And the next most important one is the test plan, which we'll cover in detail today. So if you click on the test plan, it will show you all the test plans and the test cases underneath. This is the place where all your test cases will reside. On top, if we see the plus icon, here we can click on to create a new work items like epic feature, user stories, and so on. You can also create this work items from within the boards. So if you click on boards and go to work items, you will see this new work item option. Here you can go and click on any one of whichever you require to create. So today we'll first start from the test plan. So to create a test plan, go to test plan, and by default, it will list you the last test plan that you have opened. So I have gone back to test plan, all the test plan. So if you click on this, this is what you will see. Since I have opened a new test plan last time, so it is showing me this screen. So to create a new test plan, go back and click on this all. From here, click new test plan and enter the plan name. So I've given a name and then need to select the area path. So this is how the ADO classifies all the work items. So we'll give the and sprint as 0, the iteration as the sprint 0. So this, since it is this work item, this test plan is for the entire release. So I've given the parent iteration as the iteration path and click on create. So once you click on create, it will take you a screen where you can see test suites, and on the left side and on the right side test plans, test cases, sorry, test cases. We'll collapse this so that you can see the bigger screen. From here, this is the test plan and this is also the root test suite. So all the test cases we can either create directly under this, but better to have a good hierarchy. So for that, we'll create some test suites within this. So this right now, if you're seeing, I have created a static test suite. So there are different types of test suite like static, requirement based, and query based. So for the requirement based and query based, I will cover up later. So this static test suite is where can create your test cases and store it. So you can arrange this test suite in different structure as per your requirement. Like for this demo, I have created sprint wise two test suites, and I will add a test case under this. So if you select sprint one, and on the right side, you see the option to add a new test case. So there are multiple ways to add a test case. This is one of the easiest one where you go and click on new test case. It will show you a new screen where you can add your test case. So but let me just, so this I've created a sample test case one. I'm not adding more steps. I'm just adding sample text over here. So you can see the screen layout. If you're not familiar, it is like first on top you see the title, which is the mandatory, and then inside there are steps and expected results. If there are any attachments, you can add the attachments. You can add multi additional steps. Also, you see here there is an option for the state of the test case, that is design. By default, the first design, then it will be in progress and then complete. And then the area path and iteration path. So for example, this I'm creating for sprint one. So I can give the iteration as sprint one for tracking and save this one. Now, right now, this is an isolated test case which is not linked to any user story. So ideally, you should link this as a to a parent user story. So I will from the related work item section, if you see here, or you can go to this link option. Either way, you can add a link. So since I already have a user story, so I will click on existing item and select that user story. So for example, this test case is related to this user story 1.1.1 and add a link. So this will add a link as a parent link. So the user story is a parent and the test case is child to it. But for our case, we'll not give a parent-child relationship. So let me just delete this and we'll add a change the relationship type to tests. Basically, this test case will test the user story. Sorry, let me, it should be existing link. This will test this user story. So now you see the relationship has changed. So this is having test. So ideally, a test case and a user story should have a relationship by tested by or test. So I'll save this one. You go back to the steps and you can come here. You will see under the related work item, this is linked to that user story. Now you close this. By default, this is added here. So we have done two things. We have added a test case within this test suite, and then also while adding the test case, we have related to the user story. The other way to create a test case is, this is one way to create a test case. The other way is using the grid option. If you see on the top right side, there is a grid view option. If you click on this, it will open you an Excel like grid. And here you can either directly type in the test case or you can copy paste from Excel. The first row is the title. The steps will come from the second row onward under the steps column. Similarly, the expected results
And the ID column, you need to leave it blank. So once you click on save, this save option is here. So if you click on save test case, it will save and auto generate the ID for it. So if you're copy paste, if you're doing a copy paste from Excel, you can just directly copy paste. You can have an Excel in this 3 column format and just copy paste here. It will save the test case. But the only thing from here, if you create a test case, you are not able to link to the user story. So you need to close this grid view, go back to the test case, click this 3 dot, and you can open this test case. And again, from here, you can link it. I will use existing item and add a link. Save this. So now this is also, second test case is also saved. So there is a third way to add a test case is add existing test case. Now in this case, it system assumes that you have already created a test case and it is there. You just need to add this to this test suite. So for that, let me create a test case from outside this area. So if you click on this plus icon, new work item, you will have here test case. So we'll create from here a new test case. This is created from overview. And I will keep everything as default. I'm not adding the step, just this is just to showcase and saved it. And I will close this. Since I've created from this icon, plus icon, it is not within this test suite. So this test sprint one test suite is only having the 2 test cases which we have earlier created. Now, in this case, I can use this add existing test case and search for that. This will search for that particular test case. I'm just giving the sample. I've not given any condition. I've just searched within the area path. You can have multiple conditions and then on that you can search. So 1 and 2 is already added in the test suite. This third test case which I have added out from outside, I will just select this one and add test case. Now this is included in this. Now again, this test case while I created, I had not linked to any user story. So to maintain traceability, we need should add a user story. So this I'm using add existing because my user story is already there. If there is a case where the link the item that you're trying to link is not existing, then you can use the other option that is new item. So it will allow you to create a new item in a new user story or any other work item that you want to link and create it. It will link, create and link to the test case. So now all the 3 test cases are there and we have added from using 3 different way. First one was using the test case, add a new test case option. This right now, since we have already added 3 test cases here, this button has moved on top. Otherwise, it was showing in the center of the screen. The way if you see, go to sprint 2, you will see here. The second option is using this test case using grid. So either you can use this drop down and click on add test case from grid, or you can use this icon from here, the grid view icon, and add your test cases. The third option is from this new work item. You created a test case outside from outside the test plan area, and from here you have just included. So this is the 3 different ways to create the test case. There is one additional way from where you can create the test case, which will show. So for that, we'll go to the board and open all the work items. So either you can open the work item from board or you can use the queries, which will show you later on. The only key thing is that you need to open that work item section. From here, we'll not use this new work item test case. This is similar to the one which I have shown from plus icon. We'll go to the user story. Like suppose I want to add a test case within this user story 1.1. So we'll click on this user story. So now this user story details is showing up. Like this is since I just for demo I've created the user story. There is no description, but in the ideal scenario you will have the user story description and acceptance criteria. So here on the related work item, it is showing all the three test cases that we had created from the test plan. And the relationship, if you see, it is tested by. So this user story is getting tested by these three test cases. So the relationship will change when you open the user story. It will show tested by. If you open the test case, it will show the tests. So this automatically ADO converts the relationship type either way. So from this screen, we can create, suppose you can create a test case from here also. So here, what it will do, the advantage is that the link will automatically happen. So from the related work item, I can click on this drop down and add a new work item. Here, link type is tested by, because this user story is tested by the particular test case. So I'm creating a work item type as test case. Now this is sample 4 test case from user story. I'm just adding this text so that it is easy for you to understand that this test case is created from within the user story. So now it will show this screen. At this stage, the test case is not yet saved. It is just in a draft stage. If you cancel it, it will not save. So by default, the title we have already given in the earlier screen. So it is copying from here, from there. Now I can go ahead and add steps and save it. So now this test case is created and saved and linked to this user story. But this is not yet added in the test suite. Now here, if we create a test case from here, it is automatically getting linked to the user story, but the test plan is still not having the test case. The sprint one test plan is still having only the three test case. The fourth one which we added from the user story is not yet added. So that we can go ahead and add using this option, add existing test case. I think some error happened. I think this trial account is having some issue. It is not showing that. Let me just see what happened. Just to refresh. We'll go back to test plan. Click on add existing test case. Yeah, now it is working. Don't know what happened, but this still that new test case is not showing. Okay, I think the iteration path that when we created that test case, the iteration path that I had given may not be correct. Let me just cross check this one. Yes, so this area path and iteration path was not correct. That was it was not showing in my query. So I will just go ahead and click on sprint one. Now if I go to test plan, add existing test case. Yeah. So this since the my parent area path is Azure DevOps ADO demo 2 / product development, and in my test case I had given this just the parent. So either I could have changed this query to include from anything under this so that it would have shown here, or I've gone there and updated the test case with the correct area path. Now I will select this test case 4 and add it. So now this all the 4 test case is added in this test suite. So far we have covered how to create test case from different ways. Now, and also creating a test suite. So we have created a static test suite. The second thing now is that how to maintain this test suite. Like now I have 4 test cases. Maybe this 4 test case is not part of sprint one. It is part of sprint two. So I can move it to sprint two. So how to do that? So you can just go to execute, sorry, define, and we'll just drag and move this to sprint two. So I have dragged this to sprint two. It is moved. So we can just click on this, drag, and select this test suite. It will move. So if you see this two, so I moved this two, sample three and sample four to sprint two. So now this is only having 2 test cases. This is having 2 test cases. So the key thing here is that you should know that you can move by dragging the test case from one suite to another. The other thing is that you can also rearrange these test suites. So like now, so I made it sprint. I've dragged sprint one on top and then sprint two below. The other thing is that I can have a child test suites. Like within sprint one, I can have a child, or suppose I create one sprint three and I create a child test suite underneath. So this is a different way to rearrange your test cases. So for maintaining or maintaining a hierarchy, you can do this. The other type of test suite that we have seen was the requirement based. So for this, what will happen is if you click on requirement based test suite, it will query based on the user story and the test case underneath. Let me just refresh something. So we'll click on this, click on requirement based suite, and we'll click on change this and just, yeah. So now user story 1.1. So what I will do, I will select user story 1.1. So it will create a test suite with the name of this user story and include all the test cases. So it created this test suite with the name of the user story, and all the test case that was linked to this user story is shown over here. So this is another way to create a test suite. This is requirement based, and any change, if I go to the user story and remove this, say suppose sample 4 from that linked test case, this automatically the link over here will also disappear. So it will not show here. So suppose if I go this one, go to open this test case and remove this link from here and deleted this link and saved it. So if I come back here, it will test for, it will, suppose I deleted and I'm add second user story, another user story. Instead of 1.1, I will add 1.2. So now if I refresh this one, this will disappear. The fourth test case has disappeared from this one because this is a requirement based test suite. Any change into the user story linked to the user story test case, it will show the effect in this test suite also. So now if I create user story requirement based test suite for the second user story, it will show me the test case which I have linked. So the test 4 which I had linked it should show here. Okay, I think this is not showing because that particular test case had linking type. Okay, this is correct. Okay, I think let me just refresh. So if you see that second user story is linked with the test case 4. So this is the second type of test suite, that is requirement based. Now the third type is a query based. So query based is nothing but it will expect to add a query. So suppose this is the condition for this is all the test case under this area path. Now if I add a condition like iteration path equals to sprint 1. So this will add all test cases which is having iteration path as sprint 1. Now in this case, with this condition, there are 3 test cases. So it will create a test case with this particular condition and it will add this 3. So depending on your requirement, you can either create query based, requirement based or a static test suites. So this query based right now by default it is showing this name. I can rename it to a so I have given a user friendly name. So this is query based. The icon will differ. If you see the icon is slightly different for the query requirement and the static. So this is all about creating your test cases in ADO. If you have any query in this, you can comment, write a comment, and I can answer you as per your query. So far we have seen one test plan, and underneath this all the test suites and test cases. But there may be scenario where you may need to have multiple test plan. Like for this one, I created this test plan for release 1. Now maybe after release 1, there may be another release, so you may need a second test plan. So you can go ahead, like if you click on this arrow over here, it will take you to all test plan. From here, you can create a new test plan again. So I've given a release 2 and parent I've given as this only. Now this will be release 2. So here this is a test plan release 2. Now and the other test plan was release 1. So in this drop down it is not showing, so it will show if I mark it as favorite. So if you see here this star, I can mark this and this as favorite. So this once I mark this favorite, there can be n number of test cases, whichever you mark favorite, it will show over here in this drop down. So it will be easy for you to switch between this test plan. And so this is how you can maintain your test plan. Now there are many other features in the test plan while you're creating, like you can download your test cases, export into CSV and XLS. Then there are other options like you can import test suites. You can export from here. So there are different options you can explore. If you have any queries, just let me know. The another option from here is like there are other options like progress report and runs. This will show you later on when I show you how to use the test case ADO test cases while you're executing your test case. So now we will see how to execute test cases in Azure DevOps. So to execute test case, you go to test plan and open the test suite where you have the test cases. So under the test case, you'll see there are 3 tabs: define, execute, and the chart. So in the execute tab, we need to go for the execution. Click on this 3 dots. You'll have this option version, like execution history, mark outcome, run, and so on. So here from the run, you click on run web application. It will open a test runner. Here you can update the status of each test case, like each test step also. So in this sample, we don't have much detail, but in actual test case, you'll see detailed steps. So you can mark each step as pass or fail. And if it is fail, you can give a reason for failure. And you can add attachment also as a screenshot. You can create the bug from here. So if you click on this create bug, what it will do is that it will attach the repro steps from the test steps directly. And since we have added comment also for the failed step, it will copy everything. Any additional information you can either give on top or in the below, and add screenshot as per requirement, and then update the title and assignee. So in this template, the bug template, we don't have assignee field as a mandatory, but normally in your project, depending on the your project configuration, there may be one or more mandatory fields while creating the bug. So in some cases, priority and severity are mandatory. So accordingly, you need to update. And there may be few custom fields also added. So you need to make sure that if it is a mandatory, you update them. But the key thing is that the description and the repro steps is automatically getting copied, and the test case is linked. So this linkage is also automatically done if you create a bug from within the test runner. So I've saved it, closed, then you save and close this one. So the status, if you see, since I had marked that step as failed and created a bug, the test case outcome is marked as failed. If you double click, it will show you the status. So this is the status of the test case which I had executed just now. Since this if you see, it shows the history of test execution. So this test case was earlier also executed. Initially it was failed, then it was made passed, then it is again failed. So if you open this failed, double click on it, it will show the test run and all the details like the bug linked to it, the steps which it had failed, and any screenshot if you have added, it will show over here as attachments. And this shows under the run section of the test plan. We go back and come here. So if you, for the second test case, let me show you some other example. Like for example, in this case, if all the steps are passed, you can mark it as pass and save and close. So here you will see that it is showing as outcome as pass. Similarly, there are other options also, like let me show in the other test case. So this, there are other options like whether if you want to pause a test case or if it is a blocked test case or if it is not applicable. Maybe suppose this is blocked, so you can mark it as blocked. You can directly mark the outcome from here also. Like suppose this is not applicable, you can mark it as not applicable. So if you are marking this test case directly from here, let's say pass, like you have executed, you can open this test case and follow the steps, and if it is passed, you can come here and update the outcome as pass. If it is failed, you can update the outcome as failed. Now what will happen is that if it is failed, you need to have a bug also. So that bug, if you go and add from here, so in this case, you need to add all the repro steps manually. You need to link the test case and also update other information. And if you link to the test case also. Suppose this is part of sample test case 4, for example, and tested by test case 4. So this linking and adding any repro steps all need to be done manually if you are creating a bug from outside, not within the test runner. So this is how you can do it. Either you use test runner and create a bug from there if it is failing, or mark it pass and add an evidence, or you can fail from directly from mark outcome and add a bug separately and link it accordingly. So this is how you can use your test case runner. And if you go to the progress report, you will see the test case progress, like how your test case is adding and any execution progress. Like right now, this is selected as test plan 1. I can, if there are multiple test plan, you can select all and show the result across all the test plans. I can filter based on test suite also. Like suppose right now I want to test for sprint, not all sprint, but only for specific sprint. That also I can do. Let me just refresh it. So if you see here, since I had executed for sprint 2, there are two test cases. Pass fail it is. Refresh it. So if you open the test runner, it should show here the pass percentage and fail percentage. I'm not sure why it is not updated. Maybe it may take some time to update the results here, but it will show, and so it will show the progress over here. So the other option is to see the chart from here. So I have added a pie chart here, so it shows the pass fail status. You can have multiple different other types of charts also, like column bar, pivot, and so on. You can add charts at the parent level, at any level, at root level also. Right now, this I have added at the sprint, this particular test suite level. So far we have covered how to create test case, like how to create test plan, how to test suite, and how to add test cases within the test suite, and how to use the ADO test plan to execute your test cases, and if it is failed, how to create a bug. So next, we'll see how you can use the queries and dashboards to progress, to manage and track your progress of the testing. So now we'll see how to create queries and use it in dashboard, and also see how to create dashboard for tracking your testing activities. So to create query, go to boards, queries. So query is nothing but a filter. So this will help you to list out different types of work items based on some conditions. Either you can create your personal query, or you can have a shared query which is accessible to all the other people in your project. So shared queries, sorry, the personal queries are only personal to you and it will not be visible to other users. We'll create a new query. And so if you see, when you click on this, there are different conditions that you can select, like the fields, operator, and the value. Let me add a new clause. Maybe, for example, created date. So I'll select a custom date, for example, to make it easy. So it will show all the work items which is created on this particular date. Now, if you see, the first condition is the work item type. Now, maybe I can just filter out to make it easy. Like I want to check all the bugs that is created today. So it will list all the bugs. Similarly, any other work item, like maybe for bug, I may remove the date. I may add the status, like anything which is active. So none of them is active. I think the bug status is new, so all new ones. And maybe assigned to. So right now in this sample, I have only one user myself, so it is not making much difference. But if you have multiple users, you can filter out with some user which is for which you want to track and create a query. Next thing is in this condition, so the condition can be made as complex as possible, and you can add different types of query also. That is the one which we are executing is a flat query. Then it can be a work items and direct links. Now the good thing is here that this will show all the parent child or any other relationship. Like if I have two types of work item, like in earlier video you have seen, I have linked user story with a test case or the test case with a user story. So now if I want to see, suppose all the user stories, I will remove this, all user story, state any, okay, and any work items linked to it. So the work items maybe say suppose I want to, for my case, I am only concerned with the test case. So there can be tasks also and bugs also. But for me right now I'm tracking all the user stories, which is and the bugs. Sorry, on the all the and the test case linked to it. So the first level, top level is the user story, and the second level is the test case. And if I execute, it will show me all the user stories and the test case linked to it. So this parent-child relation, not necessarily parent-child, it can be any relationship type. So if further there is other options also here, like if I want to see only all top level items, it will not show me, it will show irrespective of whether it's having a linked item or not. So there can be a user story which is not having any test case linked to it. It will show that also, and the other way around also. Or if I only want which is having matching, do not have matching links, which means that if any user story which is not having any test case, so it will show. Right now I have two user story and all those both are having test case linked to it, so it is showing zero result. Similarly, for if I want to show a linkage between test case and bug and see the results, that is possible using this work items and direct link. And that work item, and there is a third type with a tree work item type. So this is slightly similar to that, but it will show a different hierarchy. So it will show all items which is linked to that. Now, if I go to the first query, like all the, suppose I want to see all the bugs. Now here, there are some additional things that you can do. First thing is adding different columns. Like right now, I have only work item type, title, assigned to, and state. Maybe we and tags is also there. So if I want to add additional columns, I can go to this column option, and from here I can add, like for example, created date, or for example, I want to add area path, or maybe I want to add an iteration path. So maybe I want to track different bugs from different sprints path. Yeah. So this will show all this data, and so far I have not saved this query. Now if I save, it will ask me a name like all bugs, and maybe I want to see all new bugs. So this is showing all new bugs, but the status, let me add the state as new. So now this is all new bugs, this query, and this is my queries. It's not a shared query, so this will not be visible to other users. Now, if I want to show this query to other users, I need to save it as shared query. So let me all new bugs. If I open this, save as, here I can select shared query as a new folder and make it saved. Now this query, if I go to queries, under my queries also it is I had saved earlier, and I have saved as the same name with same name under the shared queries. So this shared queries I can create folders underneath also to arrange different types of queries, and I can move it under this parent. So I drag and drop, it will work. So this is all new bugs query under folder testing. So similarly, you can have all, suppose I want to create list of all test cases. So instead of work item types bug, I will select work item type as test case and run. So it will showing, since I in this project right now I have created only 4 sample test cases, it is showing only 4. Depending on your project, there may be different results. And I will save this query. So save, and I will save directly under shared queries, and I will select it is not showing the folder. Sure. Save. So I make this all test cases. So if I go to queries, it will show all test cases. Let me move this to testing. Okay. So this 2 queries I have created, all bugs, all new bugs, and all test cases. So I will make one more change in this. So in the column options, I will add column priority and a column severity. The reason I will tell you why I'm adding this, not just to see, but to uh, have this in a report also. So in the dashboard. Now, one more thing here is that you can rearrange these columns by dragging. Like I don't want tags. Right now, I'm not using any tags in my, so I can remove this. Severity, I can move up. Priority, I can move up. Assign to state is fine. Create date is okay. I think this all good. Looks good to me. So now you see the severity and priority is moved up, assigned to. So it is easy to view. So depending on your requirement, you can rearrange it accordingly. Also, once in this query, there are other options like you can export this to CSV. You will also have Excel option depending on your configuration, project configuration. So there is an option to export using to Excel also. But this CSV will by default and email query will by default show up. So you can export this as a CSV file, and or you can export this query. If you export, it will email. It will show you an option to email that query. Like now, I think this is not properly linked, but you will see that option. The one more option in this is that if you see this preview option, it is showing off. I can make it show the preview. So in this case, this bug, it will show the details of this bug here or any other work item. If it's a user story, if it's a test case, it will show the details on the right side. You can make it bottom also. You can see this in the bottom. So depending on your how you want to use it, or you can make it turn it off. So far we have covered how to create queries, simple queries, and work item direct links query, and also how to save it as a shared queries, and adding different columns based on your requirement. The next thing is here within this query, you can create charts directly here. So this, since this query is unsaved, it is showing as chart is disabled for unsaved query. So you need to make it so that the query is saved. Now if I go to charts, it will show me. Now, so here I will create pie chart. I will not show because I've shown that earlier in test case. I will create one bar chart, and based on severity, I will show this. So if you see this, it is showing, and I can go and rename this. So this, I can add multiple charts. There is no restriction. So maybe I can add a pivot chart assigned to and the column as severity. So it will show in this way. That's, or maybe let me make it using attrition path. So this will go show two-dimensional. For this print one, there are two bugs. For this attrition, it is three, and so on. So this is how you can add charts also under the query. The only limitations with ADO right now is that if you have, you can add chart only for a flat list of work items, like for the query type of flat list. If your query is a work item type and direct links, chart will not work. So that's one limitation. Second thing is that suppose you want to add a column in my chart right now, I have a severity, and suppose I want to use priority. So in this, suppose I remove this priority from this list. So now if I try to add, so if I try to add a chart and use priority as a column, it will not show me in this list. So this list, the fields that it will show in this list will only be those fields which is part of that query in the column here. So if you want any column in your charts, that column should be part of your query. So that's the reason I had earlier added severity and priority. So far we have covered queries and different types of queries, how to add charts, and some other key features. Some of them are intuitive. You can explore and have multiple other options here. Like you can have a filter directly from here. One more option is like if I want to filter based on states assigned to tags or some keyword, you can use directly from here also. This is not part of the actual query, but you can filter out. Next, we'll see the dashboard. So for dashboard, we need to have a queries. Like so far we have created two queries. So dashboard will have use the queries that we have already created. So let me first create, by default there is one dashboard already added when the project was created. We can add other more than one dashboard. Like I can go and create a dashboard. Suppose I'm creating a dashboard for tracking all the testing activity, and the type is say project dashboard. Now this will be visible to all project team members, irrespective of which, if there are multiple teams also, this will show to all the team member, this project dashboard. And here I can go and add widgets. Now, but there are a lot of widgets which ADO provides, and you can use them. Few of them are like charts for test plan. Like suppose you want to track the progress of your testing. So you can add a chart for test plan. You can add a chart for queries, like chart for work items. You can add a query tile, and there are other options also. Will show. One is query result. Done. Now I will just go and click configure. So if you click on this in the three dots, you will have a configure option. So this is a charts for test plan. So in this particular chart, you will have option to select the test plan. So if you remember, we have seen the sample release one test plan earlier, where I had created different sprints and test cases for it. So right now I have added test chart for test uh, parent one and pie chart and test result with outcome. So it will show all the test cases. Let me just give sprint one. So sprint one, two test case, and based so depending on the other items, you can change the color, change the conditions of this, and save it. So you can see this charts showing over here. Similarly, you can add a charts for work items. So this first one I had created for the test plan. Second one I will be creating using the query. So you have seen that I had created query for bugs earlier. So here you will see for this particular chart type, it is chart for work items. It will have option to select the query. So I will select the query for bugs. So one thing to note is that in this you will only have option to select from the shared queries. If you have queries created in your personal query, that will not show up. So I've selected all new bugs, and I will create a pivot table and severity versus priority. Save. So this is all new bugs by severity, and it's a two-dimensional chart. So this is showing the chart for the bug. This query tile is a very simple and useful. Here you can have a query, but it will show only one number. So suppose I'm selecting all new bugs. That's it. So it will show all the new bugs, a count of that bug. So it's like a counter. So you can have multiple query tiles, and you can have multiple charts of any type like this. You can have more than one. This also you can have n number of. This one is again an interesting thing. Here you will also select query, but it will show a result. Like if I select bugs, it will show list of all the bugs. And now here I can select what work item, what columns I want to see. So I want to see only these three columns: ID, title, severity, and four column and assign to. That's it. So this four columns it is showing. So next thing is, if you click on edit, I can rearrange this one. Now the one more thing that is very good to know is that you can increase this size. So right now this, if you see, this width is 3, height is 2. So suppose I want have more columns, I want to see that it is properly visible, I can make this width as 4. So this size, if you see, it has changed. And similarly the height you can change as per your requirement. Similarly for the other chart, like for this one it's 2 by 2, I can make it say 2 by 3 by 2. This automatically got shifted here. Again, this I can drag and drop and rearrange as per my requirement. I can move this on top, this over here, this here, or maybe this bottom. So it's up to you how you design your dashboard. So there are few other important you can explore and see. There are many other charts type like links, sprint burn down, team member list. So you can have team member list. So this will show here velocity. You can have also some custom charts and purchased from the extension gallery, and that will also you can add over here. So depending on your requirement, most of for testing, I think the test plan chart, the bugs chart, and the uh, result query result and this tile, all these are sufficient. And there is one more related to build that also you can use, build failure and build success it will show. So that also you can add this release pipeline overview. Sprint rundown may be required for the project manager. So this is how you can create your dashboards and use for your tracking purpose. The other way to add charts, like you have seen in the test plan that I had created charts over here. So this also I can click on this three dot and click select add to dashboard. So if I select, it will ask me which dashboard you want to add. So I suppose I want to add to this dashboard. It will show there. Let me this since I already have a sprint one, I will create one for sprint two here and move it to the dashboard. So if you click add dashboard, click here, select this dashboard. Okay. Now if I go to my dashboard, this this sprint one chart I had already added. Sprint two got added from the test plan. Similarly, if I go to queries and here in the all shared queries, I have all new bugs, all work items. In the all new bugs, I had created sorry, I need to go to the shared query. In the shared query, all new bugs, I had created charts like this, all bugs by severity. So what I will do is I can click on this three dot and click on add to dashboard. Again, it will ask me to select which dashboard you want to add. I will select this test dashboard and done. If I come back to the dashboard, the new chart that I added, it will show up here. Now, since I want this to be on the top, so I can drag this and move it top on top. Done. So this is done. So this is how you can create your queries, create charts in the query, add the charts to the dashboard, or you can directly come to the dashboard and add charts. But one thing is that the query should already be there and you have already created your query. So you have to just select the query from the dashboard. So far, we have covered how to create test plan, test cases, execute a test case, link test case across multiple work items, like linking test case with bug, linking test case with user story, and vice versa. Creating your queries, saving it as a shared query, creating dashboard charts, and moving charts from queries to dashboard. So the next one bonus thing that will show you is how to use the analytics view. That will also be an add-on. It will help you to enhance your charts and dashboard. So for analytics view, you need to go to the boards and click on analytics view. So you can create your own new view or you can use some of the existing one, like if you see these bugs today. So to use this, you need to have a Power BI installed in your machine. So it will link your Power BI can be connected to this analytics and you can view the reports in your Power BI dashboard. So that details I will show you in another video. and how to use analytics view. The few other things, the tips that you should keep in mind while you're using your ADO for testing and test tracking purpose. First thing is that you should have all your user story and test case properly linked, like your test and so the user story should have a test case link and a test case should have a user story link as a parent. And if you're following, if you're having a instead of user story some other work item like requirement, so you can link it to requirement. All your evidences should be attached to the test cases. That is also uh, good to have. You should follow that best practice. Bugs should have right priority and severity. So make sure that while creating your bugs, you provide your severity and priority correctly, and make sure to link it to the test case and user story for proper traceability. Thirdly, have your dashboard up to date, like for tracking, as your dashboard should reflect your testing correct test status, so that anyone who looks into the dashboard get a right picture. So this video covers most of the important testing activity that is required while using Azure DevOps. It will give you a good starting point. Anything else, if you want, you can update on the comments and we'll try to help as soon as possible. If required, we can create a new video for that also. Thank you for watching.